Hello, everybody. This is Professor Pete Mandic with a message for my philosophy of technology students. If you're not one of my philosophy of technology students, this message is not for you. Hi, everybody. Welcome to week 2. I'm recording this on Monday, which is the top of week 2. And week 2 is when we do module 2. So module 2 is similar to module 1. If you have completed your module 1 work, then you're in a really good position to understand what to do for module 2. Please watch the rest of this video anyway. There's some slight differences. I want to make sure that you are aware of everything that you need to be aware of. So I'm going to share my screen and point out stuff that I want to make sure everybody knows about what you need to do for module 2. So I'm going to start sharing my screen here. Here we go. For the old Blackboard. Okay, so this is what things look like when you log into Blackboard. I said this is week 2. We need to do module 2. So I'm going to click on the module 2 link over here in the left hand menu. And this looks a lot like module 1, right? We start things off with a nice little introductory message from Eric Steinhardt. And then we scroll down and we start seeing that there are things that are due, just like with module 1. In module 2, which is happening in week 2, you've got some things due this week by Wednesday. Those are the readings and the videos. So try to get your readings and videos all taken care of by Wednesday of the second week. And then just like with module 1, for module 2, you have 2 things that are due. Now, these things are going to be slightly different. So there's going to be a discussion. That's going to be pretty similar to what you did for the module 1 discussion, but we're not going to have a quiz this week. Instead, we're going to have a writing assignment. So those of you who hate quizzes and love writing assignments, yay. For those of you who love quizzes and hate writing assignments, my condolences. I'm sorry about that. So those are the things that are due. The writing assignment is due Sunday of this week. This discussion assignment is due Thursday, and you should get your reading and video watching done by Wednesday. I just want to make sure you know where to get the full instructions for the relevant pieces here. So if we scroll down and you see there's this discussion that you have to do, I want you to be aware that the instructions you see here are not the full instructions. You need to see the full instructions. So just like last time for module 1, you got to go over here on the left side and click on the discussions link. Now you can see all the discussions. And then we scroll down here to discussion 2, and this is the full set of instructions. And if you read those instructions, you'll see that just like last week, there's 2 components to this discussion assignment. One of the components is you have to post a discussion by Thursday, but you're not done yet. You have to comment on 2 other students' posts, and you have until Sunday to do that. And you want to know how each of these pieces is graded. That's all spelled out here. So just to repeat, one of the things due this week is a discussion assignment. The full instructions for the discussion assignment are accessed by clicking on the discussions link, and then you scroll down until you find the module 2 discussion about technology versus biology. Now, back to module 2. So here's the module 2 screen. We scroll down. We see that you also have a writing assignment due. And the full instructions for the writing assignment are right here in the main module 2 page. And you've got until Sunday to do that. Okay. All right. Let me say a few things about questions you might have. Lots of people have lots of questions, and sometimes people have the same questions as other people. Sometimes they're questions that I've heard before in previous classes from previous students. Some questions are, it's the same questions. I've been teaching 22 years and I've heard the same question 22 times So before you ask a question, please make sure the question wasn't already answered in the instructions or in the previous announcements or in the syllabus. Some of the questions there are just answered there. So double check that before reaching out to me over email to ask me a question. But here's another thing I want you to think about before you ask the question. Because a lot of questions are about like, well, do we have to do this? Do we have to do that? And when you formulate a question like that, you should think to yourself like, well, is this covered already in the instructions? So one sort of question that I get a lot on about various writing assignments is people will ask, do I have to avoid writing in the first person? Meaning, do I have to avoid words like I and me? That's a good question. But now let's think about what the requirements are for the assignment and how the assignment's going to be graded. So if you look in the instructions here in module 2 for the writing assignment, you'll see there's explicit instructions. You must answer 2 questions about this technology. It says you have to use the readings and videos in module 2 to argue for your response. So this is telling you what you have to do. You have to, for example, upload your document in one of the following formats: TXT or DOC or DOCX or PDF. So it's telling you all sorts of explicit things about what you have to do. And notice it doesn't say that you're required to avoid saying I and me. So it's very reasonable to conclude that that doesn't matter. If it did matter, it would have been mentioned in the instructions. Or, another thing to make sure you look at is look at the grading rubric. The grading rubric is telling you like the sort of things you'll gain or lose points for. The assignment has to be turned in on time. It has to be 400 to 500 words long. So it's telling you what you're going to lose points for. None of these things say that you're going to lose points if you use the words I or me. So it's very reasonable to conclude that it's just irrelevant. If you want to use them, go ahead. If you don't want to use them, no one cares. So the point is just to read through this with your question in mind and ask yourself like, well, is it required? If it doesn't say anything about it, then it seems reasonable to conclude that it wouldn't be required. Now, of course, you might say, well, Mandic, it doesn't say here that I can't commit crimes to complete my assignment. It doesn't say here I can't go rob a bank. Well, okay. All the rules here presuppose that you're following the law of the land, you're following the policies of the university, okay? Of course, just because something isn't mentioned here doesn't mean I'm telling you it's okay to go and rob a bank. But within general reason about the assignment, everything you need to know about how to do the assignment is spelled out right here. Another common question people ask about writing assignments is, do they have to go find outside readings? Well, let's use the same mindset. Does it say here that you have to find outside readings? It says you have to use the readings and videos from the module, but those are not outside readings. Those are inside readings. It says you have to use those inside readings, but do you have to use outside readings? Well, if you did have to use outside readings, that would have been mentioned in the instructions, but it's not mentioned in the instructions. So it's reasonable to conclude that you don't need that. Anyway, I'm sorry if this seems complicated. To put it very simply, the moral of the story is, before you ask a question, first read the instructions that were already given you to see if it's answered there. And if it isn't answered there, it's probably because it just doesn't matter. You could do whatever you want. You want to use the words I and me. You want to go get some outside sources. I mean, if that's what you feel like doing, it wouldn't hurt you. It doesn't say here you'll lose points for that. It does say you need to use the readings and videos from the module. So that's what you have to do. Anyway, if you do have any questions, it's fine to send an email to me and ask the question. I just ask that you read first, check the announcements first to make sure that your question wasn't already answered there. Anyway, if there are any other problems or concerns or questions that come up, or if you just, you need some help, you're trying to understand something, you don't quite get a point that was made in a reading or the video, I'm here to help. Send me an email and I'll help you out. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy module 2 and you enjoy the rest of the week. Until next time, this is Professor Mandic, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.